questions or anything from last week?
No.
Okay. So I don't know how far we went into our scales, but I just want to make sure you have all those. There's 5. So why don't we make a point of concentrating on those, and then we'll get those down, and then we'll try to put them to work. So let's start with G major today.
Yeah, we went over all 5 last week.
All 5. Okay.
I don't know if I remember. G major.
Yeah. Yep.
Then
A Dorian. Yep. And there's B Phrygian. Excellent. There's D Mixolydian, which is like a major with a flat 7.
yeah.
Excellent. And then there's minor. Excellent. Okay. You have those pretty well. But let's try something with them. So what they really are is they blanketed the whole fretboard for you in the key of G major. Okay? Now what does that do for us? Why do we even bother with this? Because a lot of my students hate practicing scales, and a lot of them are just like, they can't seem to like get over the chasm of like, how do we take scales and make music out of it? What's the point, And the point really is it's, scales aren't music. They're just like sort of utensils, they're almost like phonics, alphabet words, or, and so what they do is, but they help us to find the right notes should we need to play a line. So for instance, in some circles, if your song is in the key of G major, for instance, and your person, your musical director or whatever, wants you to play a line, he might say to you, 5, 6, 7, 3, 4. Okay, so what I did was I just played the 5th of G, the 6th, the 7th note, the 3rd, and the 4th. I put a chord on it. Sometimes when people learn tunes, they might say 1, 4, 5. Okay, so G chord is the 1st, C chord is the 4th, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and a D chord would be the 5th. And that's the way the guitar is really set up. That's the way the guitar plays. 1, 4, 5, 1. Okay, how does that relate to our G scale and all the scales we just did? Well, 1, 4, 5 is in every position. 1, 4, 5, 1. That's like in the Dorian area. And the Phrygian area, 1, 4, 5, 1. Okay, in the Mixolydian area, 1, 4, 5, 1, 1. And in the minor area, we can do it 1, 4, 5, 1. Okay, so when you kind of have this in your guitar playing files, the files of the things on the guitar, and you constantly refer back to it, you'll start to see that the guitar just lays itself out in a very efficient manner, or at least that's the way I like to see it. There are a lot of books, and there are many different ways to lay out the guitar. It's a lot different from many of the other instruments For instance, you could think of a G major scale on one string. And here, we start on the A. Now that to me is very confusing to have to think that way. I like to just think across the board. It gives you a lot of notes. And then as you get that together, you can connect these positions if you like. So I'm just playing through everything that we just did, all the scales. I'm just making little lines. Using some accidentals. But everything is based on the scales that you just did. Like in this area in the key of G, my brain is thinking Phrygian scale, but I'm not just playing the scale, I might be playing so I went from the Phrygian area to the Mixolydian area to the minor area. Does that make any sense?
A little bit.
A little bit. Okay. What it is I use them for as a reference when I'm playing in a key. Now, you might be thinking like, well, what happens if you're in the key of C? So let's try that. Let's move everything to the key of C. Let's play a major from C right here. The next one in the series is Dorian pattern, and we will play that from D. Excellent. Next one is a Phrygian pattern, and we play that from E. Yes. Next one is Mixolydian. We would play that from G. We could start that over here. Yep.
Was this the major with the...
Major with the flat 7. Yes, good. And then the minor from A. Yes, very good. And then we're back to C. Excellent. Okay, so let's try something. I'm going to play a little chord progression in the key of C. What I want you to do is just go through each scale and let's see how the notes sound against the chord progression. Okay?
So the C goes...
Yeah.
This smells.
Yeah. Yeah, Ben. Okay, so did you see how like the notes were pretty harmonious with what I was playing? That makes sense?
Yeah.
Yeah. And you have really good ears too because of all the music that you've played. And so I think you'd be able to tell, like, because for instance, when you first get into doing, working through scale patterns, sometimes you might hit a bum note or something like that. And sometimes, like if you have good ears, that'll make you go to the right note, which is usually just a half step away. So let's try something else. Let's stick with one scale for a minute. Let's stick with the A minor. Now, just take the notes and think of each note as a crayon, okay? Try to make an oral picture with some of the notes. Like you can just take the first two strings. Okay, so I'm going to play a different chord progression and let you play on that A minor scale a little bit. Just jam around, just have some fun with it. Pretty fun, huh?
Yeah.
Let's try the same. I'll play the same chord progression. Play E Phrygian now. Yep.
Phrygian is
So?
which one?
Pretty nice?
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's what it really is. In the beginning, I like to just think of the scales as something that you can play if you're jamming with another guitar player, or any other musician, and you want to take a little solo, So those are some notes that you can use to construct a little solo. You can use those notes to do it on the spot, like we were just doing, or you can use those notes to maybe compose something that you might really want to, like a melody or something that you really want to, you want it to be sort of etched in stone. So that's like the beginning of like knowing the whole instrument. Okay. Part two of that would be little arpeggios. We can think of them as triads. Matter of fact, that's what we'll think of them today as, is just little triads. So why don't we get started on that? That's going to be G major. We're in the key of G now. Yep. That's C major. Back to D major. It's just C major brought up a whole step. Yep. And then that's G major. Yep. C major. Yep. Yep, that's the same as C, but we brought it up a whole step and it's D. Okay. One more. So that's G. And I'm on the 12th fret. Yep. Now this shape for C. So that's 14, 12, 13. Yep. Move up a whole step, and it's D. Yep. And if you can, one more, and that's G. Yep. And that's this, just an octave higher.
Yeah.
Okay, so. So you start to hear a little bit of. Sort of like a early rock and roll kind of sound, was, maybe 3 chords. A 1 chord, a 4 chord, and a 5 chord. Okay, so what we did today here is we put those in trio form. Why? Why do we do that? Again, if we're going to improvise or if we're going to play that chord progression, it gets boring to just sit there and go. I'm already tired of this. My ears are already fatigued, my hands hate it. I'd rather just go. That to me is much more fun and much more interesting, So, okay, let's go through it again. G. Yep. C. D. Back to G. C. D. Let's try it again. Now this is what we'll do. We'll try to put a slight bit of rhythm to it. We'll go from the higher note and up the arpeggio. So. Yep, and then start again here. Huh? Sorry, let's do this one. Excellent. So you probably already noticed that there's 3 shapes. This shape, this shape, and this shape. So we could even do the progression like that. G, C, D, back to G. If we start again up here, G, C, D, back to G. If we start here, G, C, D, G. Okay? So one other thing I'll go over with you here today is each chord shape starting from 3rd fret. So G, 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 G. Let's do that real quick. Yep. And then this one. Yeah. And then this one. Yep. And back to the root. Yeah. Yes. Okay, let's do the C. So C, we can start from here. And here. Yeah, good. Let's do the D. Yep. And here. And here. Now, where does that come in handy? Where do these things come in handy? I'll show you another instance where they come in handy. So, one of the songs my band always plays is a song called Proud Mary. Now the chords are D for a long time, then it does A, this shape, then it does B minor, which we haven't gone over yet, and then it goes to G, back to D. So D, A minor, B minor, G, back to D, okay? So like I said a minute ago, I'm on D minor for quite a while, okay? And the rhythm is this. This is the rhythm I play when I play Proud Mary. Now for me, just doing that rhythm for a long time, I like to color the song. So here's a couple of ways I might color the song. I'll stay on that D for a while, but then maybe I'll go down to this one, and maybe I'll play around with this one a little bit. I might go... There's a D note, F sharp, A, D, F sharp. I know all my chord tones. And guess what? With this D shape right here, you know the surrounding scale? F sharp Phrygian. So, what that means is if I'm on D for a long time, so I don't expect you to be able to do all this right away, but what I'm saying is the information that I'm giving you here today, it's useful in that it opens up everything on the guitar. A long time ago, I heard somebody say that what Jimi Hendrix did was he took one chord and he made it be able to live all over the guitar. So I thought about that and I was like, I think I could do that, because I had already known all this stuff when I heard that person say it. And I was like, that's something that I do anyway. Like if I'm playing D, I'm not just going to stay in one area. I might go... So all that was just stuff that we worked on today. Does that make any sense?
Yeah.
Yeah. So would you like to be able to do that?
Might take a while.
I don't think it's gonna take you. You have such a brilliant brain. I think it's gonna take you like maybe weeks, not even a while. But the stuff that we worked on today was like the seedbeds of what that is. That would be kind of a goal for me, like a short-term goal for me with you, is to be able to let you see like one chord, how it lives all over the guitar. That might be a cool thing to work on. Is there any songs or anything that you're interested in trying, or any questions that you may have, or
like any specific song?
Anything you want.
I was thinking about maybe Hey There Delilah, or like Viva La Vida.
Sure. Let's do Hey There Delilah. I'll show it to you real quick. Guess what the first chord is? D. But it's this D. So these two.
Yeah, this one I kind of looked at the notes myself a little. So I know the beginning, but that's.
Oh, you know it.
I know the beginning.
You can play it.
A little bit.
Yeah. love it, Ben. Sounds good. Keep working on that. By the way, this is a B minor.
Which one?
Yeah. And when you went down to that, it's G major. And then when you went to this, that's A major. Yeah. So a lot of times when I learn songs, sometimes I just figure out what the chords are real quick. Like if I have to learn a song, like, you know, on the fly, and I'll just go, and I'll memorize it as, okay, this, even though it's not like a traditional G, I know this is part of a D. It's like a partial D. And this is a pretty solid F sharp minor. That's how you play a minor chord from F sharp. That's the root. A big one would be like that, you know. But so I just memorize it as D, F minor. And I might not play the song for 6 months or so. But if I know it's D to F sharp minor, my brain just goes to that, you know what I mean? So whenever I learn a song, I always try to know what the chord shapes are, even if they're like partial chord shapes. For instance, this is a partial B minor. You don't need the whole B minor to play Hey There, Delilah. You can just go. You don't need the whole A triad to play A. You can play that. But if you know where it's coming from, you can't get lost. Make sense?
Yeah.
All right. We have to stop here.
Okay.
Let's work on that more next week.
Okay.